Okay, it is the Wednesday session for Bitcoin. We'll get the Fed minutes later today, Friday, possibly getting that announcement of the Supreme Court decision on Trump's tariffs, whether they're constitutional or unconstitutional. Did the Trump administration have the authority to do that? And that's what's going to be possibly ruled on this week, on Friday or next week. I think it's the this Friday, the 20th, or the 24th or 26th next week. I believe the dates are not 100% on that, so double check that. We're watching to see if Bitcoin ends up popping higher and then going lower, a little higher and then going lower, or does it just go lower? We got a possible triangle now. I think 60,000 is likely to be taken out. And again, I'm looking for a bottom, likely somewhere above 49,000, which is horizontal support in the weekly time frame. I've talked about this. Could see something like what we had over here develop, as I've talked about, where you get a multiple point divergence. And we could see that begin right here, where we end up turning down, dropping, and then rallying back up. And you end up seeing a multiple point divergence end up developing here on the RSI. So we'll be watching for clues, whether we get a pop higher or have a triangle here and continue lower. But you could see a divergence or a triple divergence, and the triple divergence up here at the top, as I've talked about. So this is what I'm looking for. I think you're going to develop a bottom here, February, March. Maybe it drags out into April. Sometimes they could take longer than we think. Again, this went on for a while here, from late February on into April, early April. This went on from July all the way to October, went on several months. So again, we're looking for a bottoming process that might look something similar to this, or have a divergence or a triple divergence. So I'm watching the RSI. It is likely we're going to form a divergence. You don't have to, but more than likely. I mean, at this bottom, there was no divergence, but that wasn't the bottom. And I continue to tell you, the weekly charts were telling us that wasn't the bottom. Looking for clues here. Again, we had the head and shoulders. We had the head and shoulders at the top, and again, broke the trend line, back tested it. Talked about all of this at the top, the final exit point with the right shoulder, the back test, rejection at the 100 period. We saw the bottom fall to Bitcoin. Again, when you're below the 100 period moving average, bad things are happening on Bitcoin. When you're above the 100 period, good things are happening on Bitcoin. Here, we were kind of jumping around it, the warning signs in the chop phase there, forming the divergence top. The RSI confirmed it by going into the negative region and remaining there. Finally, it turned back up. We broke out of the triangle, and you got rejection at the 100 again, and we turned right back into the negative region. And the bottom fell out of Bitcoin, dropping rapidly by nearly 39%. So again, we're watching for clues. Do we rally up to the 20-period moving average, or towards 74 to 80,000 or so, and then get a bigger jump, or do we form a triangle and just go ahead and drop? Right now, with MACDs crossed over, you're likely going to see a divergence develop on the MACD. Maybe a triple divergence develops on the RSI. But again, we could see a divergence, a triple divergence as well on the MACD. Over here, you got a Class B divergence, as I've said, and where you had almost two equal lows on the MACD, and then you got a Class A divergence. Class A is where price makes a lower high and you get a higher low on the indicator. Here you had really almost two equal lows on the indicator where price moved lower. That's a Class B divergence. Class A divergence is the most powerful divergence, where Class B divergences aren't quite as strong, but they do play out often, more often than not. So again, we'll be watching to see. Now we're still in the negative region with the stochastic. Do we get a bigger rally to this 20 period? The falling 20 period, the 10 is under the 20 period, and they're both below the 50. So again, this is what the different scenarios that I'm watching for. We drop, we pop, we drop again. If the triangle plays out, do we get a bigger rally and then drop, and maybe again touch this trend line as I've talked about? Maybe we touch it once or twice. We're looking for clues. I don't know the future, but I'm telling you, I look at support and resistance. I got bearish at the top because we hit resistance in the weekly time frame. Support is at the 200-week moving average, currently 58,000, or directly under that, 49 to 50, 51,000, that range, the low end of horizontal support. So I don't think we take out 49,000, but I think you're going to come down and hit this level. I talked about coming down to this level back up here when we were at the 100 period moving average. I told you the moon boys better pray that that is not the new expanded channel, because if it is, we're going down to this lower end of the channel. I was correct about that. After being told I wouldn't be, and how we're in the new bull market, the sell-off's over, 80,000 is the bottom. Same people saying the same stuff all the way down. And again, over here, they're going to call another bottom. I think it's going to be a bear market rally. Again, you can rally back up to test this high just under it or even over it and reach 100,000 or even go above 100,000. That's possible. Bear market rallies are powerful. No guarantee we make 100,000. We might just come under this level at 97,900. That's what we did the last bear market. We rallied up to the miniature relief rally, the low up there, and formed a lower high just under it. So again, I'll be watching this level here, but we could get above it, possible. We'll be looking for clues of a bottom. We'll be looking for clues of a lower high, but I expect we're going to get the bear market rally once we bottom out, which could take a little bit more time here to develop. Please support the channel with the link directly below. That allows me to be able to provide you this information. If you like my charts, and you will, if you like my indicators, and you will, then please take a moment to support the channel. I just ask that you do that rather than try to sell you a bunch of stuff or send you to websites that want to take advantage of you, or send you to an exchange. So rather than doing all of that, I just ask that you just help out, do what you can. And again, if you follow the link below, it'll take you to a secured site. If these signals have helped you as much as they've helped me, please consider supporting the channel. Let me know that you want me to do these videos rather than go golf. I'm trying to improve my game. But if you want me to help improve your education on Bitcoin, let me know that by supporting the channel today. I thank you for your consideration for that. Weekly signals warned us that 80,000 was not the bottom. Signals still remain bearish. Again, I think you're going to bottom in this area again, right here, 49,000, to the 52,000 area. If we exclude these shadows, maybe up into the mid 50,000 level, this is where I think you're going to bottom out and hitting that lower end channel in the daily time frame. I think down in here, you'll probably see another bottoming tail develop like we had right here in the weekly time frame. I think you'll see something similar to that, but I think this is very similar to what we had over here. Again, we had the miniature relief rally. We had the next leg down. That's what we got over here. We had the sell-off. We got the miniature relief rally, next leg down. But you got a couple bottoming tails down here, and then you got this bigger rally. But look, you had a big rally, big sell-off back down. I think you're going to see something very, very similar to this for the bear market rally. And just one observation is the bear market rally came to just under the peak of the miniature relief rally. Now, we don't have to do that, but it came to just under it. We'll see if we get something similar to that, or do we rise above it and get a larger Fibonacci retracement. I'm looking at my Elliott wave counts. Again, Elliott wave is speculation. Again, I told you I believe that we completed at the 100-day in the daily time frame primary wave 4. With this count, I have my alternative count, which I've talked about, the larger WXY pattern. And again, if we did complete 4, we're in primary wave 5 that's going to unfold. And again, couple different ways to count it. Again, did crash wave 3 complete here? We're still in it, and then we get a 4, and then we get a 5, and get something like that, into the future, or do we have a triangle developing here for intermediate wave 4, and again a 5-point triangle? Maybe we get one more push higher, and then it breaks down. And that would give us intermediate wave 5 right here, right now. If we've completed 3, the triangle is 4, or we pop higher for 4. Another possibility is that we're not done with 3, and that rather than intermediate wave 3, you have minor wave 3, you have minor wave 4, and then we now have this 1, 2, and again, maybe we don't exceed that level, and you still get this minor wave 5 in these smaller subwaves again, to complete wave 3. So there's a couple different ways to count it, and I'm looking for clues, but right now you got a possible triangle continuation pattern to the downside. If we pop above the triangle, get back above our 50 and back above these minor highs, previous minor highs, 72,000 here, then again, maybe you buy a little bit more time and you come up here and maybe what could be a larger ABC kind of a counter-trend rally, a corrective move for the next leg down. So again, looking for different ways this may play out. I don't know the future. I'm just a trader that looks at support and resistance and uses mathematically based indicators. I don't trade Elliott wave. I just use it to try to determine price direction that validates what I'm seeing with my indicators through the process of elimination. Counts will be validated or invalidated, and again, I don't trade it. So does this triangle complete? Do we get a pop here and a drop? Or do we get something bigger to 74,000 to the 80,000 range, somewhere there, closer to the 200 period moving average here, closer to that 20 period in the daily that I showed you earlier. I think Pring parameter is likely to set up a divergence here. I think the low right here at 60,000 had no divergence, so it's likely you're going to see a divergence end up setting up at some point for some type of bottom for Bitcoin. Now, I continue to believe that Bitcoin is going to bottom in this area right here, which again will hit the lower end of the channel. This is our linear scaling, and I'm looking for a divergence or a triple divergence down in here. So again, we may reach it. Here it was close, but no cigar, no divergence there with the trend line. And again, I drew this channel back up here when we reached the 100 period moving average. I predicted we'd move to the 100 period, and I drew this channel, told you the Moo Boys better pray. This isn't the new expanded channel. I told you I thought it was. Told you I thought we'd come down here and bottom down here at this lower channel area near my target. Again, 60,000, 63, or even take it out. Again, getting a 50+% sell-off under the 200-week moving average, as I've talked about as well. We've reached my minimum objective target now. So again, I'm looking for a bottom. Strategy is simple. Again, after pyramiding my position on the way down, the divergence, then reversal, the final exit point, the back test, rejection at the 100 period moving average. I'm scaling out in layers, taking half of my profits here, again looking down here somewhere to close out the balance of my position, closing my position in layers as it's now been proven correct, reducing risk, and then I'll be looking for a long opportunity down here somewhere near this area. Again, horizontal support 49,000 to about 52,000 or so. Good support in there. This trend line is intersecting with this channel. So this is where I think we're going to bottom. Not a recommendation that anybody buy or sell Bitcoin. Just sharing with you what I'm doing. Not a recommendation to buy or sell Bitcoin, but wouldn't it be nice if it was? Because my trade played out beautifully. So again, I'll be looking to flip the trade, go long, ride the bear market rally. Again, that's what I'm looking to do, and I'm not recommending anybody do that. I'll be looking to get short all over again as we come back up to this area, either below it or just above it, and that's my strategy. That's what I'll be looking to do. One thing too, these lows might be pointing to the next high, okay? They might be pointing to the next high if we can move above this 97,900 area. No guarantee we do, but possible. Sometimes the previous lows point to the next high. This is how I spotted the 2021 top for Bitcoin in November of 2021. Pointed out that the previous lows were pointing to the next high, and they were. Again, signals are still red. We're still in the negative portion of the channel. Even if we rally back up for a larger ABC correction, again, signals can remain bearish here. You'd still be in the negative portion of the channel. After the top, signals turned bearish. We dropped into the negative portion of the channel. We lost the 50 and the 100 period. The 100 became resistance. Again, we had the signals remain bearish. Here we got a counter trend back above the 50, rejection at the 100, signals reverted right back to bearish. How about these signals? Isn't that absolutely incredible? Remember, I warned you that my signals turned bearish on the 14th, 15th, 16th, and 17th, and here we saw the signals play out. Bars are still red, and again, we've been in, and we remained with that counter trend rally in the negative portion of the channel. So again, the signals continue to nail it. I am actively looking for a bottom, and will be continuing to look for a bottom down here in February or March. Maybe it drags out into April. I think you got a good shot. You get a bottom in February or March. I think we see a rally from 52,000 to at least into the 80,000 range. Lower Fibonacci, 38.2 Fibonacci. Now here's a scenario, again, using our linear scaling. I think we're going to drop into these trend lines. Again, 51, 52, 53,000. It looks like that's where we're probably going to reach based on the channel. I think that here I've got it marked at, well, in between, around 52,000 on this scenario. And I draw different, 51, 52, 53,000 on different charts that I'm looking at this. Here I have it at 52,000, and if the mid 52,000 area, if we bottom late February, early March, again, you're going to be coming down to this 51, 52, 53,000 area. If we rally back up, and we only reach the 38.2 Fibonacci, you're going into the 80,000, that would be almost 83,000, the 38.2 Fibonacci of the entire decline. If you reach the 50% retracement, you get the lower high scenario below 97,900, and that 50% retracement takes you back into the 90,000 range, or maybe just above it. The 50% retracement is at 92,000. Should we reach 52,000 here? And again, this is going to change wherever we bottom out, and I'm guesstimating that we're going to bottom out around 51 to 53,000 or so, maybe a little higher in the mid 50,000 range. But if we hit this lower boundary, you can go under that 200-week moving average briefly and then see it bottom. So again, 50% retracement would take you back up into the low 90,000 range. If you go above the 50% retracement, maybe into the mid 90,000 range. If you can get to the 61.8 Fibonacci, then you're going to go above 100,000 to 101,600. If we can get a rally that big, moving above this high. Again, this high is, we're either going to move just below it in all likelihood for the next rally, or just above it once we get the bear market rally. So we'll be watching. But it may be we still have the 200. Now the 200 can turn back up, as I've marked right here. It did in other bear markets, but it doesn't have to. That's why I've marked both of the scenarios. We may just see it continue to drop and stall around the 50% retracement in the low 90,000 range, just under this level. So do keep that in mind. In our larger count, the primary waves, primary wave 1, 2, 3, 4. I believe we're in primary wave 5. I told you over here I thought we would the rally would end at the 100 period, completing primary wave 4. You have 5 intermediate waves. Did we complete intermediate wave 3? And we're now in 4 with the triangle, or a little bit higher, and then we drop. And again, maybe it drags out on into March to create the bottom, or do we drop now, rally back up, and then drop again, as I've talked about? There are a couple of different ways it can play out. If you know the future, you are one up on me, okay? I'm looking at different possibilities, and I remain open-minded and flexible. But I'll be looking to exit and close the balance of my shorts, looking to go long, and be looking to go short. Now, again, I'm trying to play the main movement on these swing moves. I do have a separate account, another position where I'm just holding through the entire bear market, doing absolutely nothing with the short-term price fluctuations or the counter-trend rallies. And not a recommendation, anybody buy or sell Bitcoin, just telling you what I'm doing. I'm also a swing trader, and I'm trying to play these swings back and forth, and have been doing so successfully. Now, again, I think the Awesome Oscillator is suggesting we're going to see a divergence develop as well. Again, we might get a larger counter-trend rally, certainly possible, but you're trying to form a triangle at this point. But I think you're going to end up seeing a divergence develop on the Awesome Oscillator and on the RSI, maybe a triple divergence. Over here, we had the triple divergence with this 3 drives to a low that eventually marked a double bottom pattern, as I've talked about in my previous update. Again, you had the divergence here on the awesome oscillator, and everybody thought, oh, it's over. And then we got another drop, and you ended up forming a triple bullish divergence. So you could see something like that develop here. So that's what I'm saying. These things sometimes can take longer than we think. And again, the topping process took months. It took from July to October, early October, but it took a couple of months. So keep that in mind. Now, the bottoming process here went a little faster. So again, we'll be watching, but I think you're going to take out 60,000. There is no divergence there with the awesome oscillator or the RSI or the MACD. I think you're going to end up forming a multiple point divergence here in late February or possibly dragging out into March. It could even extend into April if it takes its time like it did with the top. But I'm looking for a bottoming process. Signals are still bearish. So again, keep your eye on the awesome oscillator. Here's that April 2025 bottom up close. Again, the divergence on the awesome oscillator, and then the larger triple divergence here. We could see something similar to this bottoming process. Now, it's still possible we get a larger counter trend rally before this divergence develops, before we take out 60,000, but it is likely we are going to take out 60,000, so keep that in mind.